Picture was taken in the 90s, and it's from a phenomenon that is still unexplained to this day. The photo that's seen on the TV is what's come to be known as the Bethany Signal. It happened in a small suburban town that was not named, but essentially every single TV turned into this. All went static for a period of 90 seconds before they switched over to this signal. This was the face that was displayed on the screen. Accompanied with this face was the sound of a man's voice that was like heavily breathing and kept saying, "My name is Bethany, and you're gonna die. My name is Bethany, and you're gonna die." Tell me you wouldn't spiral out from that. The eeriest part is that nobody knows who's behind it or how they did it. At face value, it might just seem like a harmless prank, but if so, what is the motive? Why do it?
I have a D-word story time, so I highly suggest that before you listen to the story, you put your headphones on, your AirPods, whatever you use. Just don't have this playing out in the open because you can essentially welcome things that you may not want around. The person who submitted this wants to remain anonymous, so for the sake of the story, let's call her Allie. And just a quick little backstory, Allie grew up with her grandparents. From the time she was 7 years old, she moved in with her grandparents, and they're the ones that raised her. So Allie's grandmother has always been extremely religious. She goes to church all the time. Allie, on the other hand, she does go from time to time, but hasn't always really been into it. On Allie's 15th birthday at exactly 12 a.m., her friend FaceTimed her and told her that he was gonna stop by and drop off her birthday gift. Mind you, her friend only lived 2 houses down, so he was just gonna walk down and leave it on her porch. But when he got to her house, he was like, "Oh crap, I don't wanna get you in trouble. I see that your grandmother is still awake." Allie's bedroom is right next to her grandparents' room, so she could hear that they were both completely knocked out, like they were even snoring. So she's like, "What are you talking about? My grandmother is sleeping." So then he goes, "Well, is your aunt over? Because I see a lady standing in the living room staring out the window." His heart dropped because she knew that he was telling her the truth, but there was no logical explanation as to who it was. So she asked him, "What does she look like?" He then began to describe her. He said she had long black hair, white pale skin. From that point forward, Allie could not sleep that whole night. She felt extremely uneasy. She kept tossing and turning, like something just did not feel right. She didn't fall asleep till like 5 a.m. And the next day, she actually went out with her mom for her birthday, and she was completely off. She just wasn't herself. Something just felt horribly wrong. That night, she went back to sleep, and at about midnight, she heard a woman call her name. Again, Allie had no way of explaining, but she did not hesitate to get up and then run to her grandmother's room and let her know what was going on. Her grandmother immediately started to pray and told her to spend the night in her room. The very next morning, when her grandmother woke up, she asked Allie to come to church with her. Allie quickly dismissed her and told her that she wasn't interested and went downstairs to go make herself a sandwich. As her grandmother was getting ready for church, Allie then hears a raspy male voice go up to her ear and say her name once again. She literally has chills just thinking back to that moment. Allie screamed so loud that it sent her grandmother rushing down the stairs. But when her grandmother asked her what was wrong, for whatever reason, she didn't want to tell her. She decided to just brush it off and try to ignore it. Once her grandmother went to church, Allie decided that she was going to get to the bottom of this by making a homemade Ouija board. Now there's going to be a part 2.
Alleged real-life men in black caught on camera with eyewitness account. In 2008, Niagara Falls, New York, Shane Sovar, a hotel manager, and a security guard said they had seen a UFO outside the hotel window. 3 weeks after a UFO investigation team looked into the sighting, 3 witnesses reported that 3 MIB had visited the hotel and terrified the staff, looking for Sovar and the guard, who were not present at the time. The witnesses described them similarly to Hopkins' account. However, the hotel's security footage in the next clip did capture the MIB and is apparently the only known footage of a man in black sighting.
There's a couple really strange-looking men that were here, and they kind of freaked everybody out, and they were asking questions about you. And, of course, now I'm getting a little bit nervous, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, well, he goes, I don't know how to describe them except for extremely odd-looking. They were the exact same height, they were wearing the exact same clothes, and they had the exact same faces, like they were twins. And he said they were wearing black suits, black trench coats, they were wearing like the old-fashioned Federo hats. They had extremely, extremely pale skin. And he said they came in and they asked for you. And I said, I'm sorry, he's actually not working today. And it seemed like they didn't believe me, so they started to walk around the hotel, and shortly after they went to the tour desk. But he goes, they freaked me out, and I really wanted to tell you that there were these weird guys in here looking for you. So, of course, now I'm a little bit skeptical and I'm a little bit freaked out all at the same time. So the first thing I do is I run into my security office and I rewound the cameras. And sure enough, here comes 2 gentlemen through the front door looking exactly how he described. Then the next day, I was talking with my tour desk, and one of them asked to talk to me. She came in my office, the same as my bellman, and she said, I heard that you heard that there were some men looking for you. And she said, they asked a few questions about you, and they said strange things that I didn't understand. And they were talking about governments and conspiracies, and none of it made any sense to me. But she goes, they were very, very scary. She said they had no eyebrows, no eyelashes, nothing. Their hair looked like they had a wig on, like it was attached to their hat, like it wasn't even real. And she said, and the scariest thing, their eyes were so big and so blue that they almost hypnotized me a little bit. And she goes, and you're going to think I'm crazy when I tell you this, but I swear they knew what I was thinking. And she started to cry. And she said one more thing before she left. She said, these men, they didn't blink. Not once did I see them blink.
These are pictures of animals that turn into stones, part 1. Up first is a picture of a gigantic snake that turned into stone. Just look at how big this thing is, and many people think it's one of the only titanoboas that has been preserved like this. This is just crazy. Next up is a picture of 2 rock formations in the middle of the ocean that look exactly like an elephant and their child. This could just be one big coincidence, but they look just like elephants. Next up is this photo, and this could be proof that giants once roamed Earth. This big rock looks exactly like a human being laying face down, but the only difference is this rock is the size of a mountain, meaning this human being was obviously tall. Next up is a picture of a gigantic footprint. And to compare how big it is, look at the human foot inside of it. This is more proof that giants once roamed Earth. Finally is another example of giants on Earth. Look at this huge human figure just laying down frozen in time. If these pictures are indeed real, I wonder what actually turned everything into stone. What in the world had the power to do this, and why did they do it? Let me know your thoughts on all of these photos.